Last year our plant became part of a large production association in Nagins, which produces medical drugs. We got new orders, and we expanded production. To do this, it was necessary to buy equipment for automatic application of labels. Previously the procedure of labeling was done manually, which didn't provide the necessary productivity and the necessary quality of gluing. I have worked at the factory for more than 30 years, 15 of them as chief engineer. I know all the production at the plant well. There had been virtually no modernization at our plant, and after the accession we had the opportunity to update the production equipment. I was given the task of finding and buying a labeling machine for the packing and shipping area. Labeling machine, a type of pharmaceutical packaging equipment, used to glue labels in automatic and semi-automatic mode on the pharmaceutical and drug products. Produced by our company, produced drugs in tablets, filled with bottles were made of white plastic, with a volume of 200 milliliters. We were looking for modern equipment that could be controlled through an LCD screen. I have many acquaintances in the field of production. The first thing I did was to seek their advice in the search for automatic equipment for self-adhesive labels on bottles. I understood that the sphere of production of my colleagues is different from the sphere of our enterprise, but they could recommend me good manufacturers of equipment whom I could turn to for help in choosing a machine. There are a lot of nuances in the production of medicinal products that need to be taken into account at all stages, controlled by various analytical equipment, including the application of labels. My colleagues recommended me 2 manufacturers in Germany. I found their data on the internet and sent them an email asking to select equipment according to my requirements. 2 days later I received a reply from one company saying that they had a labeling machine with the specifications given, but it was only suitable for penicillin bottles. Another company refused to work with us, as they don't work with CIS countries. Following the same advice of colleagues, I did not contact Chinese manufacturers directly. My acquaintances told me that equipment manufacturers from China often deliver incomplete equipment, citing inaccurate information about the required parameters of the machine. I could not take that risk, so I decided to choose a Russian-speaking reseller to search for automatic equipment for labeling bottles. I needed a professional who had been working for a long time in the field of supplying pharmaceutical equipment and had positive customer feedback. I started the search for a specialist on the internet. I chose 3 of the most presentable companies. As a criterion, I looked at the time the company has been on the equipment supply market, the company's website, the terms of delivery of the machine. I called to all the companies by phone in order to be sure of the manager's professionalism. The specialist of one company said to wait for 5 minutes, but never listened to me. I didn't like this attitude to the customer. The manager of another company talked to me politely, asked questions about the necessary performance equipment, terms of production. 5 days later I got 10 variants of various labeling machines from them, and an offer to make a choice by myself. I realized that they had no professional approach, and would not help me in my decision to find equipment for labeling. The last, 3rd option of a middleman from Moscow, turned out to be good for me. The manager, a man, talked to me like a professional. He asked me specific questions about production capacity, the material of the bottles used, the control method. He chose automatic equipment for attaching self-adhesive labels to plastic bottles, which I was able to quickly negotiate with the company management. The machine was acceptable in terms of features and price. Within a week we concluded a contract for the supply of equipment. The manager reported the degree of readiness of the machine 2 weeks in advance. The machine was delivered within the scheduled time. After installation and adjustment of equipment we could estimate its quality. Plastic bottles were moving along the conveyor, and were tightly held by the sides along the center line. The bottles are moved into the separating device, keeping a certain distance, and moving along the center line. I realized that I had made the right choice of an expert to supply the equipment. Qualified advice is essential in choosing any purchase. The project is sure to be successful if this advice was received from a professional.